one thing that really peeves a lot of people in and out of the community, our allies and people that move through the world as LGBTQ+, is rainbow capitalism and these companies profiting and making money hand over fist at the expense of the community. Let's talk about it, because the general support for LGBTQ+ rights grows, so does the corporate incentive for brands and companies to position themselves in sync with that growing sentiment. But the commercialization lies with a disconnect, right? That they want to get the money, they want to look like, and this goes back to what we were talking about earlier about the performative actions of groups, right? They want to look like they're on board, that they're really part of the team, but behind closed doors, it's all about dollars and cents. Adrienne, I want to start with you. I mean, every year we walk into a Target and what do we get? What do we get? The absolute worst when it comes to Pride gear, but Target's notorious for it.
Yeah, and you know what? They love to make their dollar, but the question is, where are they investing those dollars? And I do understand that I believe Target is making a donation this year, which is great. But at the same time, let's talk about how are you treating your employees? Who are you hiring? What does your executive board look like? It needs to be diverse and truly diverse and welcoming. How are you reinvesting into communities that are marginalized, especially the LGBTQIA+ community? Making that transition so that we can have the change and actually have the investment is what is extremely important. And the thing is, a lot of companies will talk the talk, but they ain't walking anywhere when it comes to truly doing something that is worthwhile.
I mean, preach. I walked into a Bath and Body Works last week, and they have their Pride is Love collection, and the scent's actually Sunwash Citrus, one of my favorites. But you wonder, but again, you wonder how far it goes, right? Because you mentioned the charity and them giving back. Let's run those numbers. J. Crew. Rhea, J. Crew. Do you have a J. Crew shirt? Do you have J. Crew, Rhea, in your wardrobe?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I've gotten rid of a lot of J. Crew because it doesn't fit me anymore, but it's fit me very well over the years. So yes,
we love
many J. Crew men's shirts in my wardrobe for sure.
Right. Same. Very good quality cotton. But look, J. Crew donates 50% of the purchase price of its Pride T-shirts. H&M, which I can't believe this, only donates 10% of the sales from its Pride Out Loud collection, while Nike's website doesn't say how much of the proceeds from its Be True campaign the campaign donates, but it does say that Nike, and it is known that Nike has donated close to 2.7 million since 2012. So we see people, as you mentioned, Adrienne, giving in some capacity of back to the LGBTQ+ community after profiting off of the rainbow. But Rhea, I want to throw it over to you. How do you feel about the pinkwashing, as they're calling it, of the LGBTQ+ community? And what are some of the things that peeve you, or what are some of the things that you find positive about it?
So Jason, first of all, I just want to point out that I realized in your sharing about Bath and Body Works, that actually sounds like it should be a gay bar now that I really think about it. Bath and Body Works. I didn't, like they're charging a $20 cover, but whatever. I think, it is both and, like you asked. It's like I can list many peeves, I can list many positives. But what I would say is that, we can focus on the donations, but also let's look at these companies and how much money that they're giving. They are giving literally to right-wing, outlets that are churning out legislation against trans children, against trans people, against healthcare, against abortion, all these things. So at a certain point, it just becomes a wash of like this money is going in many directions. And so while I think it is a net positive that people in all of over the country are seeing a rainbow shirt in a store where they shop, I do think that is a positive thing overall. I think there's a lot of work to do when we actually look at where is all of this money going? What are the workers' rights and conditions in these stores that they're selling these things? Because that is what the LGBTQ community and the movement has always stood for. So if I or we can't feel safe going into a bathroom in a Target, I don't care what shirt they're selling. If they don't hire queer people because this might turn people off, and then they're selling a rainbow shirt, it's a problem. And each one deserves space and care.
Right.
So it's a both and I'm trying to make space for both of those things in my life and my experience.
And we appreciate that. It's you draw a great example there, because I mean, even, okay, taking it a step, well, not a step further, but from apparel, let's talk about like phone companies, right? There's really big phone companies, cell phone companies that do big pushes for Pride, have banners. They're on their boots on the ground at Pride celebrations in major metropolitan area like Miami, Philadelphia, LA, Chicago, etc. But the treatment of their employees on the job that are of the LGBTQ plus experience don't mirror what they're saying when they're out and about, trying to look like they are down for the cause. And you also mentioned companies, Rhea. Let's talk about Gilead, who is, of course, they're a sponsor of New York City Pride, and they are the pharmaceutical company that makes the pill Truvada for PrEP, or pre-exposure prophylaxis. Is a medication, of course, regimen that helps, that when taken daily can reduce the risk of HIV from sex by over 90%. That's why that's a whole other conversation about PrEP. Whole other conversation about PrEP, because with this drug being out here now, a lot of gay men feel like it's a free-for-all to not practice safe sex, right? And younger generations, Gen Z, millennials, weren't around or not being told or taught about a whole generation of gay men and LGBTQ plus people that are dead now, that were ravaged by HIV 20 years ago. And that's not that long ago. My uncle died of HIV in 2004. He was part of that generation that overnight disappeared because there wasn't the language or the education, and there was still a stigma and discrimination against people that were affected by HIV and later developing AIDS and dying. So I mean, PrEP to me is a whole other conversation, because I think that people have been very irresponsible with it. I'm glad that as human beings we are able to have the ingenuity to beat Mother Nature and to be really on top of science, but still doesn't give us the opportunity, doesn't mean give us liberty to be irresponsible. But without insurance, PrEP costs $2,110.99 per month. And with insurance and a coupon card from Gilead, that goes down to zero. Now, the problem is that the communities where PrEP can have the greatest effect aren't getting the drug, because the people in those communities cannot often afford insurance that covers it. So back to, where's the money going? Why wouldn't Gilead, hey, we are sponsoring New York Pride. Why can't we funnel that money into here in Miami, Carroll City, or Liberty City, or places that people are struggling? That there's trans people, there is LGBTQ plus people who would love to be able to have this wonderful magic drug. They're not able to get that. So I mean, I don't know. When it comes to when I walk into a Target, and by the way, every single year, and no shade to Target, we love a Target moment, but the clothes are hideous. Whoever's designing these things, it's just as bad as the people who allowed Kendall Jenner to stop a riot or stop, with the can of Pepsi years ago, right? Terrible, right? Who would wear this? Adrienne, one of the most stylish women I know. Would you wear this stuff?
Oh my God, no, why? That's just cruel. Don't threaten.
I feel like it's a prank.
Oh, yeah, there's something going on here.
I feel like they're trolling us, Adrienne.
Oh my God, but also their Black History Month stuff was just as beat back. It's like you can really tell that they're on the struggle bus when it comes to representing diversity through their their wear, because it's a problem.
Right, I know. I just, you wonder who's in the room saying, "Oh, this will look really good," really a really boxy fit. That's in style right now. But I mean, I don't know. So it goes more, because as we just showed you, Target misses the mark, and many videos are going viral of critiques of a phenomenon called rainbow capitalism. That's what we're talking about. The notion that corporations earn both money and social capital from selling LGBTQ plus themed merchandise. So many of these videos are focusing on Target's nearly 250 items. Target has nearly 250 items on the website that are Pride themed. And this year's collection launched online in April, and it was in stores in May. And I don't know. I would rather. I don't know. I don't. I think it's great in theory that they're recognizing this, because I would say, I mean, I am an 80s kid. I remember being a young gay boy in the 90s, and the only representation of gayness on TV, and we're talking about earlier, was either like really effeminate men that are like, yes, work, and that's beautiful too, or the trans person who is on the street with a heroin needle in their arm, or or Johnny, the white boy from Idaho who's gay, who gets AIDS and dies, alone in some hospital with no one coming to visit him. So I'm glad that we are able to now, that younger generations, especially Gen Z millennials, can go into Target and be like, hey, it's Pride Month, it's festive, it feels good. But at the same time, though, it's just like it needs to be more than that, right? And there needs to be a deeper understanding to what Pride Month is, because Pride Month is not born from a festive nature. Pride was born from a riot, right? But Target's not saying that. There's no video playing that's showing the history of what Pride is. I think that's more impactful than you selling a god awful rainbow colored blazer. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yes, absolutely.
100%.
There has to be something to address the historical aspects of it and also to be authentic in it. Because kind of as you've noted, I have had a number of friends go to Pride out here in West Hollywood. And it's like, but what are you really doing to disabuse yourself of your own ignorance so that you're not holding on to, biased tropes or ideologies or theories? Like, what more are you doing? Don't just make someone else's oppression your opportunity to have, a white claw and a party. That's not okay. So that's just where I am with it. Like, I need to know what you're doing, because when you just show up one day out of the year to just wear something cute and to prance around, it's not cute.
Right, Rhea?
Yeah, I feel like we're at a point, and we're in history now. The present is gonna be the future's history, right? So I feel like we've been given this moment of connection through the internet and this, ubiquitous communication, where it isn't only the corporations that have the biggest presence at Pride. There actually is the activist thread and ancestry that is beginning to come to the forefront. And the fact that Gen Z TikTokers are like, what is up with, like, what is up with this stuff, excuse me, is so important. And it gives me a lot of hope that I feel like overall the movement is towards what Adrienne was talking about, which is like, it is a month, it is a time, it is a year, it is all the time. And how are we showing up for each other, not for a party? We can show up in joy and courage and bravery and for each other, but the cocktails are not the first step, and like they're not the point. And I feel like the fact that we're even here having this conversation right now is part of that. And we always have room to grow, but I think that there's just so much happening, so many conversations, and they continue. And I'm really grateful that we're having them, because I feel like for so long it was just show up, absolute vodka, waving from a float, and then go home, and like it's growing and gaining its power back. I feel like Pride is really reconnecting, and we're connecting to each other, and I think that's really incredible.